How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. With the 2019-2020 NBA season underway, many players from the 2017 draft class are showing a lot of promise. Some haven't taken the next step, and even MacLeod has been stellar after his painful shoulder injury. But Josh Jackson of the Memphis Grizzlies is one of the most forgotten players from that draft and hasn't been talked about at all. Before the 2017 draft, I predicted Jackson would be the biggest bust of the draft, and for all my longtime friends watching this video, y'all remember what I said. Let's take a look at what went wrong. Before we start this video, shout out to my man Billy Finn for rocking the absolute travesty t-shirt. A proud Boston College alum from Brooklyn, New York, a big Giants and Mets fan, loves LeBron James, believes he's the best ever. If you want yours today, go to wilsonsign93.com or click the link on the description below. Thanks again for your support. Selected 4th overall in the 2017 NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns once again made a terrible decision in drafting the 6'8" forward out of the University of Kansas. After having an extremely terrible start to his NBA career, now as a member of the Memphis Grizzlies, his future's looking like an absolute failure, an absolute atrocity, and a hot mess. The Grizzlies just recently declined his 4th-year option, didn't even bring him to training camp, let alone not being active for the first game of the regular season. Having an $8.9 million team option for the 2021 season, the deadline's October 31st. The franchise can still change their minds, but if a struggling rebuilding team doesn't want to take a chance on the 22-year-old former lottery pick, it says a lot about him, and he's heading towards free agency unrestricted. During his high school days, he attended Justin Siena High in Napa, California, dominated and was a beast amongst boys, averaged over 31 a game, 5 rebounds as a junior, 27 and 13 as a senior, a McDonald's All-American, even won co-MVP that game, was one of the best players in the nation, and even ranked number 1 by Rivals, Scout, 247 Sports, number 2 on the ESPN Top 100 behind Harry Giles, ahead of other guys like Lonzo Ball and Jason Tatum. After committing to the University of Kansas, the 6'8" forward was widely compared to the likes of Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler, with his versatility on both sides of the ball, very explosive, and the potential to be a great lockdown defender, had all the physical tools to be a successful NBA player. His lack of jump shot was his biggest weakness, dominated his freshman year, averaged over 16 and 7, 3 assists on over 51% shooting. His tools checked most of the boxes you want from a prototypical wing destined to be a two-way standout. There were also plenty of rumors Jackson could go as high as number 1 during NCAA tournament time, but MacLeod numbers were too eye-popping to pass up on. The Lakers had the number 2 pick and shown some interest in Jackson, but eventually decided on Lonzo. Jackson also reportedly canceled his workout with the Celtics, where he was a poor man's Jaylen Brown anyway. The struggling, pathetic Phoenix Suns selected Jackson 4th overall, thinking it was a good idea to pair him alongside Eric Bledsoe, a 21.6 assist point guard. Before his infamous "I don't want to be here" tweet, Jackson was looked at as an athletic, defensive-oriented 6'8" guy, where a lot of guys his size had plenty of success in the league, even if he doesn't turn out to be a superstar, like a Harrison Barnes, Chris Middleton type player, but Jackson was none of that. In his 3rd NBA game, the rookie made an inappropriate gesture with his hands towards one of the Clipper fans, resulting him in a $35,000 fine, struggled mightily with his shot, looked lost on the court at times, quickly became the forgotten man of his draft, was one of the most inefficient players, and given plenty of opportunities, took too many bad shots, wasn't disciplined because he was bigger and faster than everybody else at the amateur levels. None of those shortcuts existed in the NBA. At under 210 pounds, he wasn't quite physical enough to be like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or Rondae Hollis-Jefferson to defend other elite small forwards, missed many layups at the rim. At the time, the Suns were dealing with busts of their own from the previous year in Marquise Chris and Dragon Bender, who were absolutely horrendous on all cylinders. Once talked about whether he or Jason Tatum should be drafted first and who would end up being the better prospect. One guy had all the footwork and skills, super polished offensively. The other is just very athletic with no skills whatsoever. Before his rookie season, Jackson even received the most GM votes as the best rookie in 5 years, at 24% over the likes of Fultz, Tatum, Ball, and even Ben Simmons, who wasn't a true rookie. Unless Jackson goes bananas, turn his game up, put up just over 9 points, 3.6 rebounds, 1 assist in 22.5 minutes his first 33 games, shot under 38% from the field, 22.5 from 3, and 57 from the line, 53% around the rim, more than 10 percentage points lower than the league average, but improved and showed signs of promise after the All-Star break when the team traded for point guard Alfred Payton, who didn't work out too well, but Jackson benefited playing with Payton. Combined with the injuries to 2 of the leading scorers in Booker and TJ Warren, Jackson averaged 18 8.4 points, almost 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals after the All-Star break. But the Suns continue to be one of the worst teams in the league, won only 24 games, one better from the season before. His future was still unknown and couldn't play with Warren, with the two posting a plus-minus at minus 15.5. His second season didn't get any better. After shooting a horrible 26.7% from 3 his rookie season, he was more known as a guy who lost his cool, often frustrated and angry, picked up 15 technical fouls. The team traded for first-round pick MacLeod Bridges out of Villanova. Jackson was replaced and sent to the bench for the better Bridges, a way better 3-and-D guy. Alongside signing Kelly Oubre, another forward, Phoenix simply had no room for Jackson, and his disappointments on the court wasn't even the biggest issue. In February 2019, when the team was 12-50, Jackson was scheduled to show up to the Fry Phoenix grocery store from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on 20th and Camelback, a sponsored autograph signing advertised on the Suns' social media page. Many fans were excited and came out to see Jackson, but unfortunately, he was a no-show, absolutely unexcusable. It's one thing if your game doesn't show up on the court, at least you're there physically, still getting paid, even if you don't put in the work. For the diehards who believed in their young guy to even show up and give him support despite looking like an absolute bust, Jackson should have felt extremely fortunate. His fans still gave him a lot of love, but to do them like that was extremely unprofessional and unacceptable at all levels. His IG story that day was celebrating a friend's birthday at a restaurant about 10 miles away where he was supposed to be, already left practice at the time. Jackson's excuse, saying he considered trying to make it and had a family issue. His IG story indicated otherwise, fined $20K, and rightfully so. Instead, it was GM James Jones who showed up. He was the one to take pictures and sign autographs, gave fans free beer. Being irresponsible was a terrible look. During his college days, Jackson threatened to beat a woman, followed her to her car, but wasn't charged with felony criminal damage since it couldn't be proved he was the one to cause all the damage in the car. At the end of the second season, Jackson was in the headlines once again for non-basketball reasons. At a Rolling Loud music festival in May, Jackson attempted to access a VIP area but didn't have the credentials, was told several times he was not allowed in but refused. After being handcuffed, he had the audacity to run away, was later caught and charged with resisting arrest and felony escape. This is the same guy who was selected ahead of De'Aaron Fox, who was becoming a bright player and leader for the Kings, an indication to showing how much the Suns screwed up in the draft. A month after, he was accused of getting his 5-month-old daughter high, using marijuana around the baby who got high off the drug. Phoenix simply had enough and traded him after 2 underachieving seasons to Memphis with DeAnthony Melton, 2 second-rounders for Javon Carter and Kyle Korver. Basically got rid of him for nothing to save their troubles. Didn't even join the Grizzlies in training camp. Viewed as a salary dump, the Memphis Hustle plays their first game in the G League November 8th. Looking at the Memphis roster, who's amongst one of the least talented teams in the league, if they don't give Josh Jackson opportunities there, his NBA career is in serious trouble. And after this season, it's very possible he might not be in the league much longer. It's not even that he can't be a third option for John Morant and Jared Jackson Jr. Jackson might not get any minutes at all. A devastating way to start off an NBA career as a lottery pick who was viewed number 1 at one point, come out with his negative attitude. Jackson reminds me of a poor man's version of OJ Mayo. Doesn't seem to be engaged, lacks motor like Andrew Wiggins. Josh Selby and Cliff Alexander are also some Kansas players who failed in the NBA. If Jackson doesn't turn his career around, he could end up being the biggest bust in the 2017 class. What do you guys think of Josh Jackson? Will he ever be good in the NBA? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love all of you. See you next time.